So, okay, now coming back to the next question. So, out of world governments, private sector, and civil society, which one do you think plays the most important role in solving the climate crisis?
I think the governments are doing a lot, but the governments are also afraid. The governments are also afraid of change because the political cycle in most countries, in some countries 2 years, like in the US, the Congress gets elected every 2 years, especially the lower house. And of course, in terms of the Parliament of India, it has a 5-year cycle. In some countries, it's 4 years, the presidential system. So we all live by a political cycle, which basically means that there is very little long-term thinking because you want to promise something to the population and you want to deliver something. So it's all short-term thinking. And the climate challenge and the solution is a little longer than a 4-year cycle. And it's the 4-year cycles actually that has brought us to where we are. Because when you have short-term goals, then you are not looking at long-term impacts. In terms of the civil society, I think the civil society is most vibrant in democratic countries because democracy, as I often say, is not just a form of government. It is the way you think. It is the freedom to create, it's the freedom to think, it's the freedom to question. And that's why democracy is so important, the freedom to choose. And so that's why democracy is so important. That's why the civil society, which is a large part of that democracy, a democratic construct that keeps democracy alive. So they are extremely important to this conversation. And then, of course, the private sector has been on the sidelines for too long. And it is time they played a critical part in the rejuvenation and the rehabilitation of Mother Earth.
So another thing which I wanted to understand was, we have this divide between haves and have-nots in the developing countries. So, and that puts some sort of that puts them in some disadvantage when compared with developed countries, where the kind of challenges are of a totally different order. So if you look at a country like India, China, you can't even ignore them because that comprises of 40% of your world. So you can't say that, okay, whether this is doing it right way or not, it is still okay. So it is not actually okay. So the thing is that we have to somehow get it corrected. So where do you think we can put some sort of balance between how these developing countries meet the sustainable development goals versus how the developed countries do that and ensure that there is a desirable progress?
Well, I think the picture is mixed. While at a macro level, there are certainly developed countries and developing countries, and that distinction is fair. But even in the US, if you go around, you'll find extremely poor people. People in abject poverty, people that sleep on the streets, on benches, park benches, or subway station benches and all. So it's not like if you're a developed country, everybody is developed within that country. So I think all countries are grappling with the same challenge, some more so than others. But at a micro level, the challenge is global.
So that brings me to the last question of this interview. So today is Earth Day, and you being the Assistant Secretary General of UNEP, and with this kind of mandate that UNEP has, and also with your extensive experience, and I see that an economist in you is really strong because you're able to actually explain things with that kind of perspective. So what is your message to the world? And when I say world, actually I mean all sorts of stakeholders, including the youth, communities, corporates, and the leaders. So
I think I have a very simple message. The simple message is that we need to think of our footprint as individuals, because we put people into segments at corporates and governments and civil society and
that's right,
activists and students and young people, and we put people in boxes expecting different kinds of behavior from different sets of people. That may be useful when you are trying to spur people into action. But at a very simple level, what we need to do is look at our own individual footprint. But how can we change behavior?
Those were some very insightful thoughts and messages from Mr. Satya Tripathi to all of us, especially the last message, which says that each of us has to carry that individual responsibility to take the right step. So let's all come together and pledge this Earth Day to move forward in order to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. Till the time we speak next, keep buzzing and stay tuned. Thank you so much.